Hey, what's up guys? Today I am playing in chambers with the AAP... No, I'm not. Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm playing with the 2-jewel AAP straight out of the box. It's insanely good, but it's not 2 jewels. Thank you, Joseph. It's not 2 jewels, so we can't do that. How's it going, Airsofters? No. Hello, Airsoft friends? No. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So here it is, the AAP01 Assassin by Action Army. For me, it was the gun of 2020, although we didn't get very many games to actually use it. It's the Swiss Army knife of airsoft guns. Do any of you older folk remember a game called Delta Force? Whenever I was 16 to about 20, I played it non-stop on PC, and I always chose a ghillie suit and a silenced MP5. I used to run into the enemy's bases, lie down and wait to strike and then wreak havoc. And although this pistol isn't very quiet, the loadout does remind me of it, which is probably why I'm a wee bit fond of it. I already have one that's set up in an SMG DMR base, but this new one I'm going to keep as a pistol, and I'm going to upgrade it as best as possible. To start with, I'm going to swap the stock chamber with the Action Army upgrade kit. This is a CNC metal chamber and works almost like a rotary TDC. The chamber will be accompanied by a 50-degree Autobot and a Stalker Pantera Nub. This should give us loads of grip to lift those big heavy BBs. The stock hop chamber splits in half, kinda like the MK23. Just beware of the 2 nuts that may fall out. Make sure you don't lose them. The Mapleleaf Autobot comes with a C-clip. I always find that it's easier to put this on before it's on the barrel. Pinch the sides of the bucking and slip it on like a gent. Match the rubber reel inside the bucking with the long cutting out of the inner barrel to ensure that the bucking is on straight. Install and check. There's a tension spring for the hop arm, which I dip in grease. This helps it grip and stay in place. This nub on a spring gives the clicked feedback for the hop wheel. It's a good way of stopping the hop wheel from adjusting by itself as you run about and play. The inner barrel of the AAP has an O-ring at the end of it which you'll have to remove before installing the inner barrel stabilizer. After another quick check to make sure that the hop chamber is working accordingly and giving us a nice symmetrical concave, it's time to simply rebuild the upper receiver parts. One thing I noticed when taking the outer barrel and putting it back into the upper receiver, you have to make sure with the Action Army chamber to switch the hop all the way off, otherwise it simply won't fit and you won't be able to put it back together. Rather than adding a short stroke kit, I'm simply installing a higher powered recoil spring that should give the same effects. The one I've chosen is 140% stronger than the original. If you're wanting an even higher rate of fire, you're going to have to get a 200% return nozzle spring, which I don't have for this build. And with that spring installed, we may as well do the external fire selector switch. There were a lot of problems with the external fire selector switches because they were made out of printed plastic and simply broke. However, this one from Airsoft World has the metal paddle and so it shouldn't break. I was having problems getting it to fit, so I decided to put it on the outside and stomp it into the table to get it to fit. Whilst this worked the charm, it may have damaged the thread on the inside, so I don't recommend this if you're going to be adding on any accessories at a later date. Once you have placed the ball bearings in the back of the slide, the springs and the cap are in place, it's just a case of using the Allen key that you get with the pack to tighten everything up and check that it works. Rather than installing the rear iron sights, you can install a rear rail. However, I've gone for the dual pack, which includes a top rail and an under rail. The reason for this is because I want to use an Olight torch on the bottom and a red dot on the top. And that's the upper receiver upgrades all finished. Time to go to work on the lower, and this is difficult. I've tried to film it as best I can. However, it is very difficult and you do need macro lenses for the tiny parts. I've done my best, so if you get stuck and you can't see what I'm doing, just give me a shout and I'll try to help you out. Whilst I'm not changing or upgrading any of the parts in the trigger mechanism, I do have to remove them to get to the hammer section. Start by removing the 3 screws at the front of the receiver and the safety switch. Next, punch out the 3 pins that run through the receiver. Once the front pin has been removed, you can take out the front section of the trigger mechanism. Be careful, there's a couple of springs in here that you don't want to lose. It's a good idea at this point to remember where the springs go so it's easier for the rebuild once you've installed the parts. After removing the slide lock, the trigger and the hammer unit should just come straight out. There is a spring and a sear that sits on the outside of the hammer unit, so handle this with care and make sure you don't lose these parts. To start the disassembly of the hammer unit, you gotta unhook the spring in the center of the unit itself. Once this is done, there is no longer any tension and you can just pop out the rod that runs through the unit. Once the rod has been removed, bit by bit the parts will start to come out. Take the hammer spring off the original and place it on the new one. And as quick as that, it's time to start the rebuild. Once you have placed the hammer and the triangular section back in place, I use a screwdriver to slide through the parts to hold them in place before I can put the rod in. I know I've done quite a lot of upgrades to this AAP, but really, the gun is excellent out of the box. Don't feel that you have to do these upgrades to get better performance. It will already perform really well. The only thing that I recommend people to definitely do is change the hammer out for a steel one if you're going to be using full auto quite regularly. I've never had a problem with my stock hammer, however I do know people that have taken their pistol out for their first time and it's cracked straight away. So if you're going to be using full auto quite a lot, definitely do this upgrade. Rest this spring lightly on the left hand side of the pistol grip and we'll fix it in place in just a bit. But first of all, add in the slide locks and next grab the stubby spring with the right angle hoops. The horizontal end will hook onto the slide lock and the vertical end will hook onto the safety mechanism unit. In hindsight, it's probably easier doing this the other way around, putting the vertical hoop on the side first and then stretching it back and putting the horizontal hoop on the hook. It would probably be a little less fiddly, but either way works. once we put that lower receiver pin in, we need to go back and hook in that U-shaped spring that we laid in down the side just to finish this section off. And that's the difficult bits all done. Just remember to put the pins in the back of the receiver and put in the 3 screws at the front of the receiver. And then that's you ready to click the upper receiver to the lower and job done. So that's the AAP finally finished. Thank goodness I got it all done. Thankfully it all works. I haven't taken a gas pistol apart in about 4 years, so it was a wee bit touch and go. The externals are all pretty easy to do. They either bolt on or screw on, and that's pretty much it. However, the internals are a wee bit more difficult. The hop unit wasn't too bad. Just make sure that you get the bucking completely 12 o'clock, and whenever you're looking down the barrel, you can get a nice concave and it's nice and symmetrical. The trigger mechanism and the hammer is a wee bit more difficult. There's quite a few springs. I tried showing you as best as I can, but obviously it's difficult with the cameras. So if you get stuck, send me a wee message. The one thing that you don't want to do is take it apart and lose the springs. They may pop out on you, so just be very, very careful. As long as you don't lose anything, you should be able to put it back together with a little bit of help from me or a local gun tech. But my advice is, if you don't know exactly what you're doing, get a gun tech to show you how to do it, or a friend or someone that's very knowledgeable. So talking about the externals then, we have the top and bottom rail. Olight is on the bottom rail, which is really, really nice. There's a Spitfire tracer unit on this one, which not only has a UV LED inside that lights up those glow-in-the-dark BBs, but it also has the orange LEDs on the front to light up the green gas as it expels. At the very back of the gun, we have the external switch, which is a really, really nice wee feature. On the pistol grip, I've gone to my trusty sand grips, which were sent out to me. Thank you very much. And on the magazines, I got 3D printed mag wells. They help with the 50 round mags. They came from Diamond Custom Airsoft, so thank you very much for printing them out for me. And the only internals that have changed is the hop unit, the hop rubber, and the steel hammer in this. And with everything installed, it's only a case of getting the sights back open so we can try it out. At the minute, I'm using a CTM holster, which is kind of like a DDT for the MK23, only this is for the AAP. It's really good, it's quick release, and it allows me to stick on all the rails and all the attachments. If you aren't running any accessories on your AAP, and you have a Swiss Arms universal holster, it's quick release as well, and it fits pretty good. It moves a wee tiny bit, but not too badly. But I wouldn't go out and buy one specifically for it. And quickly moving on to my SMG DMR Weird Frankenstein build. The only thing that I've added to this is a silencer and a Glock lower. If you want to use the Glock handle on the front of this gun, you will need a mini 20mm reel extension, as the Glock sits lower than the AAP. Other than that, it works pretty darn good. I've got a red dot on top, I've got the stock and 50 round mags. This one doesn't have the upgraded Action Army chamber because you have to remove the stock to get into the upper, to detach the upper to get in to adjust it, which is just too much work. So unfortunately for this build, it's got the stock hop unit, which is pretty darn good anyway. I've stuck a Sniper Mechanics Flamingo in there and it seems to be sending them really, really well. If you have any questions, let me know. Leave a wee comment below or hit me up on Instagram. At the minute, for holstering this gun, I have a power tool lock. You can get these off AliExpress. They're really, really cheap. I think mine was about £10, and literally it just hooks in and that's me. It's stable enough for taking a wee break or getting some lunch or whatever. You can simply holster it. However, for running about, I recommend adding a clip, which I holster down and then I clip into the side of my chest rig, and that holds it pretty tight. Holstering it this way is pretty neat and tidy. There's no straps, there's no pulling on your neck. However, because the AAP is so light, this power tool one works fine. There is a lock on this power tool attachment, but I never use it. Anyway guys, I think I have covered everything. If I haven't, send me a message, let me know. Before we go, I'd like to give a few wee things away. I have 2 spare Glock mag pulls and also a Glock speed loader. These are really handy if you've got a 50 round mag. Just slide it over and it'll hold the spring down for you, and then just fill it with a speed loader, take it off, and that's you done. Very, very cool. If you'd like to be in for a chance for winning this, just comment below anything you want, and also follow me on Instagram. I'll be checking. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like and subscribe and hit that notifications bell. As always, I've put a lot of work into it to try and bring something of value to you guys. Anyway, peace.